now.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a gym right in the backyard of Pocono Speedway, Matt's going to it, and he will drive to it every single day. And
There is one.
When it's Pocono week, he's making that video.
Yeah, there is one I used to lift at. Um, there was one that I used to lift at in Broadheadsville. It was so funny,
Yeah, that's funny.
but that God, sorry. I hate Facebook so much. All right, here we go.
Powered by Riverside.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome into a brand new episode of the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Codd, and alongside of me this week, as always, my co-host, Jake Belts. What's up, Jake?
What's up, Matt? How are you, man? Great, great,
Woo!
great racing weekend this weekend, man.
My heart is still coming back to earth from that Daytona 500. I don't know what it is, guys, but NASCAR is back, baby. That is how you open up the damn season.
Yes, it is.
Loved
Yes, it is.
every single minute of it, dude. Every single minute. That we have so much to talk about. Again, if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
listening to us live, again, thank you for chiming in. Bone Engine chat line wide open for everybody. Feel free to put up your thoughts on this race weekend as well. We want to hear from the fans and all that type of stuff. Jake, we have a loaded show on tap this evening. We have a koozie giveaway as well to celebrate a lot of new fans to our show. So we're really excited about that. But Jake, I'm going to pass the mic off to you tonight to start things off because of the 25th anniversary of Dale.
Yes, it is the 25th anniversary of Dale Sr. Um, Me and Matt both grew up in a families who were pretty much diehard Dale Sr. We root for Dale. It's a sad day for NASCAR for sure. His legacy obviously will always live on when his merchandise is top 5 still or top 10 in merchandise sales. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's Don't get me wrong. I was 3 years old when it happened, but still, Dale Senior is Dale Senior. NASCAR. I'll argue with you in the chat. NASCAR has never been the same since that man lost his life on that turn. It's been a long time coming. They put multiple different documentaries out. I know they just dropped one the other day. I haven't been able to watch it, so give us your thoughts on it if you were able to watch it though. But yep, 25 years we lost Dale.
Yeah. You said you were 3.
I
I was
know, isn't
9.
that crazy?
I was 9 when it happened, or 8. I'm sorry, I was 8 years old. Jesus. I remembered exactly where I was too when I remember watching the wreck because every year my parents always had my grandparents over for a Daytona 500 watch party. At the time, we were living in New Hope. If you're from Pennsylvania, if you know where that's at, Bucks County. Um, I was sick as a dog. I was a child. I was completely sick, and I was like watching the 500 first race on Fox too, and yeah, I mean, after the race was over, it looked like just your typical Earnhardt crash, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
more of like, or not just Earnhardt, but anybody in general. And didn't think anything of it. And I want to say right around, I think 9 o'clock at night, I remember my mom coming into my room. Again, grew up in a huge Earnhardt household. And my mom literally told me the news that Dale died. Didn't comprehend it. Didn't think it was real. I was like, yeah, there's no way that's real at all. And then all of a sudden, the next day, the news had it that he was officially dead. Mike Helton's interview with "We've Lost Dale." It was, yeah. I mean, 25 years later, clearly, so many questions to me come up if we never lost Dale Earnhardt, have What would DEI have become? Because clearly, he would have retired, probably ran DEI. That dumb bitch Teresa obviously destroyed it. I don't care what anyone says. She's not a good lady. But the one thing is, I always wonder is, would have NASCAR gotten the way that it would have if, in regards to the lawsuit recently, if Dale was around? And I don't know. I don't know if that's, I don't know what the answer would have been.
Yeah.
I think that the sport would have continued growing. I think there would have been a lot of loyalty to the sport. I think having a figure as big as Dale Earnhardt in the sport, especially as an owner, there would have been a lot of things that probably wouldn't have happened. Maybe there would have been a lot of changes. But my biggest question, the biggest what if in my entire life, is always going to be, what would have DEI have become? And what would Dale Jr.'s career have been? So if you're listening live, feel free. Blown Engine chat line wide open for you on that discussion on Dale Earnhardt and the 25th anniversary of his death.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm going to just trickle off you here for a minute, but I personally think if Dale Sr. was alive today, we would not be racing a car that's like it is today. I don't think it would be the type of car that we have. I know everybody bitches about it. You and me bitch about it. And yeah, is Dale Jr. a Cup Series champion if his dad's still alive? I can probably say, yeah, he is. At the end of the day, Dale Sr. ain't racing the car. Jr. is, but
No.
it's really hard. There's so many what ifs. What could have happened? And I think there's a lot of people like, hey man, I text my dad every year. My dad's a diehard Senior fan and loved him. And I text him today. I'm like, 25 years. I'm like, I guarantee you remember the wreck like it was yesterday. And he said, yeah. It's it's stamped in his mind, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And to all the fans, and I think that's why NASCAR does a lot of these documentaries about Dale Sr. Why wouldn't they? Right?
Yeah.
Like, why not cash out? Why not, continue making them? People watch them, all that type of stuff. I know it's starting to get a little redundant, but at the same time, it's almost like you can't get enough of it. So we got a couple of people checking in on the Blown Engine chat line right now. We got Tom. He checks in. He said, just watched it after watching the 98 500. 98 500 was probably the highest of highs in NASCAR when he won it. And then obviously the 01 was probably the lowest of lows of NASCAR afterwards. We got Ronald checking in. He said, what's up, guys? And then he follows up with, Jimmy probably wouldn't have won all those championships. It's a pretty good point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a huge what if.
A huge what if, right? Like, again, with DEI and all that type of stuff. And clearly they would have gotten free agents, right? You're racing for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Dale Jr. was a rising star in the industry. Obviously, Steve Park wasn't a mainstay at DEI. It sucks. I mean, there's so much what ifs, and still 25 years later to this day, it still probably hurts. But positive side of it, if there is any positive, look at all the safety barriers and the safety innovations in the sport, right? And I always say this to fans. Back in 2021, Coke 0400, Ryan Blaney at Daytona took a massive wreck into the wall in turns 3 and 4. Very reminiscent of the Earnhardt wreck. Blaney walked away because of all the safety that got put in the sport.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I agree. I mean, and it sucks that we had to lose somebody, and anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. That it took NASCAR to realize, shit, we gotta fix it. I mean, I'll go back to last year. I don't remember what track it was. You could probably quote me on this, but that hit that Alex Bowman took.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he said, "Oh man, that was the hardest hit I've ever hit, and that hurt." Put it back to when do that same thing back in the day. I guarantee he's not walking away from that hit.
Probably not. Probably not. I mean, the safer barrier definitely. I mean, man, when those cars hit the safer barrier, I mean, when they slow everything down, that wall just collapses and slingshots the car back into the track.
Yep.
It's one of the best things that I think NASCAR and the France family ever did was putting that wall into the sport. So
100%.
Jake, not to start our show off with a lot of doom and gloom, but again, chime in, Blown Engine chat line wide open. We did have a death that did affect NASCAR on Monday, as actor Robert Duvall ended up passing away at 95 years old. And if you're a big NASCAR fan and a fan of the movie Days of Thunder, Robert Duvall played Cole Trickle's crew chief and dropped one of the greatest lines, in my opinion, in racing history.
didn't slam you, he didn't bump you, he didn't nudge you, he rubbed you. And rubbing, son, is racing.
Rubbing is racing.
Yep.
So legendary actor Robert Duvall. I mean, again, he not just was he in Days of Thunder, he was in so many other movies throughout history as well. But Days of Thunder obviously relates to us here on the Broken Wheel Bearing podcast and our show as well. So, all right. So Ronald checks back in on the Blown Engine chat line. He goes, the Gen 7 is the reason Curtis retired. I still miss the Gen 6 car. Yeah, I mean, Ronald, it's crazy to say that. I mean, I was at Pocono when he was qualifying, and typical hit. I mean, it didn't look like anything. It wasn't anything serious, and he just could not clear concussion protocol. It was that hard of a hit. And it's funny because we talk about the Gen 7 car real quick before we get into Daytona. Ryan Newman, when he tested that car back in 2021, Ryan Newman told NASCAR and told people this is one of the most dangerous cars I've ever driven. Ryan Newman was an engineer from Purdue. And why NASCAR didn't listen to his opinion, I don't know. Obviously, we're still tweaking the Gen 7 car and all that type of stuff, so hopefully things start getting a lot better. And I'm hoping that the Kurt concussion that ended his career ended up making the car a lot safer. But, yeah, I mean, it seems like concussions are a serious issue with this car. It really does.
Yeah, it is.
So, anyways, all right, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's talk about Daytona. And Jake, dear God, that whole weekend was an absolute masterpiece. That was one of the greatest race weekends I can ever recall.
Oh, 100%. I haven't watched the Daytona 500 in 10 plus years. That's that good.
So, my question for my audience tonight, or our audience, excuse me, Jake. Best Daytona 500 since. Because when you listen to a lot of other podcasts that we're in the network with, and then on top of it, other racing personalities, they have said that this was one of the best races that they can remember. I don't know what it was. Maybe the whole playoff format being eliminated. Drivers were back out and they were racing to go win the Daytona 500. And I kind of want to take something away from the Here for Speed guys. They kind of said on their show on Monday. They said, I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just like they, with the playoffs basically eliminated, it felt like the playoffs overshadowed the 500 because it was like, okay, we go win and then all of a sudden we're locked into the playoffs. This year just felt different. It felt completely different. And there is so much that we can talk about that made it feel different, but the race itself was completely different. It was great.
Mm-hmm. I can't argue with you on that point at all. I mean, you were talking a little bit before the show. I mean, what is the last time there was a Daytona 500 that compared to this? And I think, like you just said, with the winning in, you could even see it in victory lane with Tyler Reddick.
Mm-hmm.
It meant so much more. It's not like won a race, get the race in the playoffs. No,
Yeah.
It was like I actually felt like holy shit. Like this guy's looking at like I just won the Daytona 500.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like it was like I just won the Daytona 500. For the last 10 years, and I was a playoff format guy. I was. But with the emotions and how the race on Sunday panned out, if the rest of the season pans out the way it is, NASCAR's completely back. I'm sorry. It is. You better tell your friends and you better tell everybody NASCAR is here to stay. But like you said, NASCAR, or when Reddick won, it was more on the emotion of I just won the 500. Look at Michael Jordan in victory lane. He's holding the trophy. I mean, and we have seen many pictures of Michael Jordan holding trophies. The dude held and hugged that trophy like he did when he won the NBA Finals. It meant so much more to him that they won. And I do credit that the playoff winning in is out. I think the chase is kind of saving. I think the chase already kind of saved NASCAR. I think it did.
Oh, yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think you're going to get these old timers. Excuse my words, I'm not calling you old, but the guys who grew up with NASCAR who are like our parents' age are like, shit, like, cause dude, I've seen it and I've heard it. Like, oh, this whole winning in is bullshit, and I can't disagree with them. Cause it's like I
Yeah.
win. Do I really got to do anything else the rest of the year? See you in the playoffs. Like, no, I think you're going to get a lot of people back into watching it. But here's the thing, Matt. You're going to get these people back in watching it, then they're going to start bitching that it's on 4 different fucking things you got to watch.
Well, that's coming.
So,
That's going to come this weekend
yes.
because they're on Amazon Prime for qualifying.
Shout out,
Atlanta.
shout out Full Throttle Media already defending it. Might as well get aboard because it ain't changing. Shout out to him.
Ronald checks in once again on the Blunt Engine chat line. Again, Blunt Engine chat line wide open. He says the 500 was good. The saving didn't bother me like it is everyone else. I just wish Kyle won, of course. I think a lot of people felt the same way.
Mhm.
God, there's so much to talk about with these drivers too. Daniel checks in. Thanks for checking in, Dan. He said Reddick with the win. Yep, that was again very big win. Ronald again checked in. He goes, "Can they just get rid of stage racing, please?" That's a whole separate topic of conversation.
yeah.
That's a whole separate one. And I'm gonna kind of go back to that in a second. That's a great response. Jack checked in on the Blunt Engine chat line. He said, "Sorry, Jake, I'm old." LOL. Also, he flipped it again on another comment. He says, "And I'm watching Amazon." Well, good. Thank you.
It's the best one. How can you not? How can you not?
So, again, we just talked about how great the impact of the 500 and winning the 500. Now that the playoffs are basically out, it basically solely focuses on winning the race. And again, folks, the points reflect wins very well.
Yes.
They adjusted it to 55 points if you win a race. So winning's still critical in the sport. They just got rid of the winning in, which I think a lot of people are happy with, even myself included, who was a playoff guy. Ronald brought up a good point on the Blunt Engine chat line. He said, "I wish you would get rid of stage racing." Now, I want to contradict myself a little bit here. I think stage racing is fun. I think it's good, but I don't know with the way that the format is set up now with the chase. I don't necessarily think that stage racing is important anymore, right? I get re-racking the field and all that type of stuff. That I like that idea, but at the same time, like playoff points don't transfer anymore. When you won a stage, the playoff point transfer. Now it doesn't. So it's kind of weird that they kept the stage racing in, and maybe they eliminate it next year. I don't know.
Mhm.
Obviously, they're going to continue tweaking the format. But yeah, that was a very interesting point. I kind of agree with that. I think that let's do stage racing one more year. And then if it's like still killing the sport with the chase format, I probably would eliminate stage racing.
Yeah, no, and I'll go off. I mean, I agree to disagree with that whole thing because I'm back and forth about it. So I look at it like
Mhm.
you can use. I'll use a guy this weekend, Ryan Blaney. Guy couldn't get out of
Yeah.
21st position all day. Was like, fuck, I'm getting stage points. I'm not pitting.
Yeah.
So the guy's
Yeah.
like, I want points. Obviously, he's probably thinking my car's not good enough. I can't run up front with these guys. Let me get stage points. Let me walk away this weekend with something in the positive. I agree with stage racing for that reason. I don't agree with stage racing when you're racing on more so our 1.5 tracks and guys are a quarter of a lap ahead from second place. So now you're going to just kill this whole dude's momentum and just basically make, yep, caution flag, putting you
Green and
back.
white checker, baby. Green and white
Yeah.
checkered.
We're going to start you again, and you got to get that lead again. I don't think you should be penalized for how good you're racing in a race, and you really only see it on 1.5 miles, you know what I mean? But and smaller, but those guys are being, I'm going to use the word penalized for it. It's not really getting penalized, but they're now are like, I just worked all these laps to get this massive lead, and now you're going to put me right back next to second place.
Yeah.
But then I used Ryan Blaney this weekend, who sucked, but still got stage points.
Yeah. Tom checked back in on the Blunt Engine chat line, kind of going off your point there. He goes, "Award points keep the race green," and I like that idea. And you do reward the points. They tried it at the road courses. I think what was it, 2023? They did that all the way until I think the Roval, and then they were like, "Okay, we're going back to stage. We're re-racking the field." Which I mean, again, for some fans, they didn't like the stage caution, or they didn't like not having the stage caution because they wanted to see the chaos. But at the same time, like, I, it's a catch-22 right now. It really
Mhm.
is. So I mean, I agree. I think I would give, obviously we're giving stage racing one more year this year. If they go, you know what, with the chase format, because those points aren't sliding over to the playoffs, let's kill it in 2027. But if NASCAR may be like, you know what, we're giving best of the both worlds. Who knows?
Yeah.
So not just do we have an incredible cup race, in my opinion, Friday night truck race was absolutely immaculate. What a finish. Chandler Smith, by the way. Give the man credit. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek went high, or John Hunter Nemechek, I thought had race control going into 3 and 4. And then unfortunately, everything happened. But Chandler Smith ends up sneaking kind of a photo finish in the truck race. Got to give my boy a shout out, Cletus McFarland. That was the best interview ever.
Yep.
With Carson Hocevar. He basically said, I talked to Carson. He said, usually if you cause the crash, you're not going to be in the crash. Well, I so happened to cause the crash, and I'm the only one to crash.
Yes.
So I don't know what advice that was. I love the quote of, I needed to check myself before I wreck myself.
Famous is it's a famous saying.
I know a lot of people are really upset that Cletus McFarland's on a NASCAR track. They're like, career YouTuber and all that. Come on, stop. Like, it's entertainment, dude. Knock it off. He has a NASCAR license. He can race.
Yeah.
The one takeaway I will say from the trucks, that I was fascinated with Ram returning. I liked Dodge returning to the track, or excuse me, Ram. I just, outside Haley, I was very disappointed with the rest of those trucks.
Yes. Very disappointed with Tony Stewart.
So I'm going to say this. I'm going to give Stewart a pass. And the reason why is because he has not raced in a NASCAR sanctioned race in 10 years. That one I'll give a pass. Mini Tyrell, you probably didn't expect much from, but the others...
I got to cut you off. I want to give a huge shout out to Mini Tyrell. Guy just won race for the seat, came out, sucked in qualifying, sucked in practice, wasn't really good in stage 1 or 2, came out, finished 19th. Props to him on that. His first ever cup race, his first ever truck series race. Good for him.
Yeah.
Didn't wreck the car, so I mean, I guess that's a plus for a rookie.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I mean, he could have caused. I mean, not saying he could have caused, but I mean, always devil's advocate. He could have caused a wreck. You don't know. But like I said, I feel like Dodge has some work cut out for him. Haley, like I said, Haley was in it till the end. And he's a super speedway ace in the lower level series. He just is. Truck.
Oh, yeah.
O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Even in the Cup, he had some runs at Colleague. Could have won a few races. He did back in 2019. But outside Haley, I was really, like I said, pretty disappointed with the rest of the Dodge program. But again, brand new. They're back in the sport. It is Daytona. I want to see how the season plays out before I deem it a massive failure, which it's not. But I just need to see how the season plays out.
Yeah.
Ronald checks in. He goes, Tony's wreck crushed me. I think for a lot of people, too. I think it crushed them. Like I said, if you're a Stewart fan, don't worry about it. It's been 10 years since he's been in a NASCAR sanctioned race. And he even said that in his interview. He's like, it's been 10 years.
Yeah. He's only used to racing quarter miles.
Yeah. Well, in drag racing now at this point.
That's quarter mile in drag racing. Yeah.
Yeah. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, I thought was, let me quote this on air. I am not an Austin Hill fan whatsoever. Everyone asks me, well, what do you feel about Austin Hill as a prospect? First of all, he's 32 years old. He's not a prospect anymore. Knock it off. Austin Hill win Daytona was no surprise. Quote coming out Saturday, old man beats up on little kids. That's what it was. You knew as soon as Austin Hill got in the lead, you knew for a fact no one was getting around him. Nobody was getting around him. He was going to block every single opportunity on every single run. And he's really good at doing that. He really is. I'm not going to take that away from him. But at the same time, Austin Hill win Daytona in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, it was not a surprise. Quite frankly, I thought Saturday's race was probably the most boring out of all of them. just because I knew as soon as Austin Hill got the lead, it was pretty much over.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch any of that race.
Yeah, I mean,
But
the only one I thought probably could have given him a run. I mean, Allgaier a little bit. Allgaier's pretty decent down there. I thought Jesse Love would be more. I thought Jesse Love would be more of a threat, but again, it's just difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, every super speedway race we see at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, it's just always going to be Austin Hill. It just is. I mean, credit to RCR. They sack trophies doing that. They do. But if you're an Austin Hill fan, you ask me one more time, what do I think of him as a NASCAR prospect? Knock it off. Knock it off. And there's nothing wrong with being a career O'Reilly Auto Parts racer. There's nothing wrong with that. He brings in sponsorship. He wins races, stacks trophies for RCR, but he is nothing at the next level. Sorry.
Can't disagree with you.
So, Jake, let's take a quick break before we get in the cup, and let's make an announcement to the show this evening. If you're listening to us live, we've been advertising it all week. Again, in celebration of all of our new fans to the Broken Wheel Bearing podcast this week, and over the last couple months, excuse me, we're going to be giving out koozies. The Broken Wheel Bearing podcast koozie. How do you win one? We're giving out 10 of these tonight. 10. How do you win one? Well, Jake's going to have some questions throughout the show. After every topic we're going to be talking about, Jake's going to ask a question. All you got to do, one engine chat line with an answer. And if you get the answer first, at the end of the show, we'll announce the winners. And then, of course, we'll tell you to text a certain number, and we'll be sending them out via mail later this week. So, again, appreciate everyone's love and support. We want to get back to you. Jake, question number 1.
All right, so here we go. I mean, we kind of getting into the Daytona 500 here. So let's start one off with the Daytona 500. I got one here. Let's do who led the most laps of the 500 and how many laps did he lead?
Ooh.
Put it down in the chat here, and the first one with the correct driver and lap number, you got a koozie coming your way.
Pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Pretty easy one. Pretty easy one. Not my preferred answer, but pretty easy one.
There's going to be some difficult ones coming up in the show as well.
Yeah, so we'll start it off easy. If you've been watching us, you know I don't like this guy, so it should be a pretty simple answer. So we'll see.
I do, by the way. All right, so many topics coming out of the 500. We can talk about so many different drivers. But before we talk about the drivers within the race itself, let's talk about the broadcast this week, right? We said something on the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast Facebook page. Again, check us out on Facebook at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Fox Sports, to me, they've had the NASCAR coverage for 25 years, since 2001. And I felt like over the last 10 years, they have gradually declined. Amazon TNT comes into the picture in 2024, completely blew Fox out of the water, made Fox basically look like made them look like a cartoon show. Fox this offseason did an outstanding job listening to the fans. Larry McReynolds was bragging about how, there's going to be a lot of changes at NASCAR on Fox, and we kind of felt that presence. And we got a little bit of it at the Clash.
Mm-hmm.
But when the 500 this weekend, the graphics completely changed. The announcers sounded just completely on point with everything. The intro to the truck race was absolutely incredible.
Yes, it was.
Fox finally turned their biggest asset in the NASCAR season into one of the most watched events, or to me, one of the most watched events over the weekend. They finally turned back to the old Fox. Yeah. And I got to give them a ton of credit because, yes, they were trying something different. They overran its course. And you know what they did? They said, it's not working anymore. We got to fix it.
Yeah.
It like within the race itself, right? And like you had the Simpsons celebrating their 800th episode.
Yeah.
Like Fox within the race was advertising their own shit again.
Yes.
It's like, it literally felt like I turned a dial and I'm like, I'm back in 2011. Like animated Sunday night, like was advertised during the race. Like They did a fantastic job and kept you glued to the TV. And it wasn't just about promoting within themselves, but it was also about how they were talking about the race. And for years, I'm the biggest Clint Boyer hater. I think he is a clown in the booth. This year, they must have went to Clint and be like, listen, you can have fun, you can goof off, you can joke around. We need you to be serious. Clint actually brought up points, and I'm like, wait, did that come out of Kevin Harvick's mouth or did that come out of Clint Boyer's? I'm like, that came out of Clint Boyer's. Fox in general did a fantastic job with all of the, lead up to the 500. They had first things first, Nick Wright's show down there for the 500, interviewing drivers, and I thought they did a great job with all the questions too to those drivers. And I'm sure that Broussard and Kevin Wildes and Nick Wright don't know much about NASCAR, but they did their research. It wasn't like, hey, we're sending a show down there. Hey, let's have some fun and goof off. No, they were informative.
Yeah.
It made it feel so much bigger all week than what we were used to with Fox and NASCAR. I got to give them an A+.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. And I said it on here before last year. I was so tired of the Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, call it bullshit, Joe. I'm not listening to the NASCAR race, listening to you guys about your fucking personal lives. I'm watching the fucking race. I mean, like it or not, but they just bullshitted. And I mean, you could see it in Michael Waltrip on Sunday. Obviously, he was very emotional with the 25 years. I get it.
Sure.
But he wasn't running up and down the track like a fucking cheerleader, like an idiot. And don't get me wrong. Yeah, I do like Michael Waltrip. I am a Michael Waltrip fan. I think he does great for Fox. But yes, you want to know what the word is that to explain all this? They finally look professional again.
Yes, bingo. That was the biggest takeaway I had from this weekend. And I thank you, NASCAR, for bringing on Amazon Prime and TNT, because maybe it finally lit a fire under Fox's ass and be like, listen, you're next. NBC's professional. You're not. Get your act together or you're gone in the next television contract. Not granted, it's 2031. But Fox, we don't want to lose this. We just don't. And yeah, even on the grid walk, and talk about how big of an event it was, right? The grid walk, how many celebrities did we see down there? And celebrities don't indicate everything, but clearly there was a lot of interest. John Gruden was down on pit road. He made a TikTok. He made a TikTok because he got a box from Daytona itself.
Yes.
And basically was named at every event in NASCAR history during this TikTok. And it's that John Gruden's really that big in the NASCAR. Marshawn Lynch, Puka Nakua. Obviously Miranda Lambert did the pre-race concert and all that type of stuff. So that was expected. Kurt Russell was there. I mean, it was, I saw a TikTok too. Vanilla Ice was in the stands watching the 500, by the way. This was a massive event. And I give credit to NASCAR. Maybe it's because they changed the playoff system that the fans are back into it again. Maybe it's because, I can't credit Fox for the celebrities, but Fox basically was like, screw it. We got to be better. We got to be better. We got to give our fans, who I will always argue this. NASCAR fans are one of the most intelligent people in the world. They're the most passionate fans in the world. They're intelligent and they have, now granted, a lot of the opinions so I agree with, absolutely not. But they're passionate and they are intelligent on the sport. And I felt like Fox was making a mockery of us for the last 7 years. And this year, they're like, no, we're going to lose them. We don't want to do that. Jake, I want to pull up something interesting while we're talking about broadcasting, right? And obviously, we didn't get the Nelson ratings from the TV on the 2026 Daytona 500. Now, last year, according to Daytona Beach News Journal, the average audience on TV in the 2025 500 was 6.76. Now, granted, they didn't break it down because we had that massive rain delay and all that type of stuff. But they don't have the Nelson ratings from Sunday's race up yet. And I'm surprised because it's Wednesday. So I wanted to see that number. But according to Daytona Beach News Journal, the 2026 Daytona 500, which was held on February 15, 2026, was officially not just sold out. They had an estimated 150,000 spectators in attendance. 150,000.
It's huge, man.
Total attendance for the entire Speed Weeks, including campers, reached approximately 450,000.
That's huge.
That's massive. And granted, I was at Daytona in 2024, and don't get me wrong, there was a ton of fans down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a massive number.
Yeah.
That's a massive number. And like I said, I'm really excited. I couldn't wait to get on air to talk to all of you about this race. But at the same time, like I'm very happy with the start that we have. I need to see it consistently. We go to
Correct.
Atlanta. Let's not dip those numbers, folks. Let's continue rising them up. Because I'm going to tell you right now, NASCAR is back. It's fun. Tell your friends. Get everybody tuning in to watch loud cars go around for multiple miles and have the complete most utter gladiator-esque type of atmosphere ever. Done.
Yeah. Can't disagree with you at all. I mean, I'm happy. I mean, I'm hoping that the numbers are bigger than last year. I really am.
I agree with you. We have a couple people checking in the Blown Engine chat line.
We got some answers on the
Ronald,
question.
We do have some answers, but we have Ronald. He checked in. He said some wrestlers were there too. That is correct. Usually
Yes.
WWE, they always cross between NASCAR
Yeah.
and WWE. So that wasn't a surprise whatsoever. I think Gruden was the biggest surprise for me.
I loved
And then
it. Dude, the
his
TikTok. I watched TikTok and I'm like, oh my God. Like the guy was basically at the end of the TikTok suited up to go put me in the car. It's like the put me in the game, coach. I'm ready to go. I loved it.
Let me ask you a question. I'll ask the audience tonight too. You can answer on the Blood Engine chat line. This is not for Akuzi, by the way. I'm sorry. What's more of a surprise? Sean Greenby at the 500 or at the end of the Daytona 500? That fan grabbing someone's ashes and throwing it on the track at the end of the race.
Legendary. That was better than seeing Gruden. 100%.
I'm going to
If
tell you
I
right
can
now.
ask to do it, you do that shit for me, but you're doing it at Pocono, my home track.
Yep, I agree. Actually, Dad, if you're listening right now, most likely if I die before you, could happen with all the activities I do, but if I die before you, grab the ashes, tell Courtney, take him to I'll give you a list of 6 tracks and just throw my ashes like that guy did
Yes.
at the end of the race. I want
Poor guy
Arlington.
ate all the ashes, but
Yeah, he did. Oh my God, that was that's
It was awesome.
incredible. But again, like I tell you guys, NASCAR is back, baby. It's back. Anyways, so here we go. Let's do question number 2 for Akuzi before we get to change topic. And again, tonight.
you want to do
folks,
questions first and then answers at the end?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like that. All right. So, guys who've been watching this podcast for a while probably know this to a T, but for our new followers, love to see you guys here. Awesome to have you guys tuning in. But who is Matt and I's favorite driver?
Let's go on. I mean, you got to answer.
I
before
don't
we get-
shut up about him, so you shouldn't get me right 100%. Matt might be a little harder, but I don't shut up about the guy.
Well, you clearly have. Yeah, I was gonna say you clearly have a hat on.
Yeah, but he's not the only one who races a Valvoline car.
That is true. You got to, and like I said, you got to answer it before the next topic because you're gonna lose. I'm gonna eliminate you. So, all right, here we go.
Already getting it in.
All right, here we go. You know what? We're gonna actually do that. Ronald, he ended up checking in. He actually had Chase Elliott, or whoops, I'm sorry, wrong comment. He goes, NASCAR was talking about coming to Philly, but I don't know if they're going to go through with that. Yeah, I don't know either, Ronald. I mean, they were talking about it, but I think Shapiro doesn't want to lose a Pocono date, and I think NASCAR wants to take something away. But he does answer. He's going to get a koozie. Chase
He
Elliott.
did.
He got Chase
He did.
Elliott. Doug checks in. He goes Larson.
Got
And
mine
Jack
right.
checks in. He goes Jake is Kyle. Matt is Chase. But we're going to send a koozie out to Ronald tonight with Chase Elliott as the answer. And then we'll go back up real quick to the Bubba Wallace, or most laps led at the 500 was Bubba Wallace.
And he did
we're
get the
gonna-
number of laps right, too. 40.
Yep, and that's Tom. So far we got Tom and Ronald with koozies tonight.
I see someone on here. You gotta put Drew's comment on here. We gotta let him know that is not my favorite driver. 100%.
Yeah, we got we got Drew checking in. He goes, Jake's favorite driver, Bubba Wallace, led the most laps with 40. That is true. It is Bubba Wallace is Jake's favorite driver.
It is
Um,
not.
All right, so next topic. Let's talk about the race. Let's talk about some of these
Yes.
drivers, right? Went over to Fox portion. Again, if you were listening to us, you want to talk a little bit about Fox and Blue Ninja chat line. What do you think about Fox's debut of the 2026 Daytona 500 this year? Again, I would say an A+. But the race within itself, we're going to start this off. Jake, my heart's been broken for about 5 days now.
I knew it was broken the minute I watched it. That was probably one of the hardest races you had to watch of that 9 car.
I would rather watch probably the Eagles lose to the 49ers 40 more times than watch Chase Elliott lose like that.
You only got one guy to blame on that one.
And who's to blame?
Riley Herbst.
So, all right. So I watched so many in-car cameras, right? And I can't blame Herbst on this reason. And everyone's blaming him. Brad had a great post-race interview. I kind of disagree with Brad. To be honest with you, it sucks because Brad, I think, would have had a shot at the line if Herbst doesn't slide up. But Herbst was a true teammate on Sunday.
Yeah.
He was. Reddick was out there. Herbst came up, drafted him down the backstretch, got into 3 and 4, gave Reddick the momentum. And what's Riley Herbst supposed to do? And even Tyler Reddick, the race winner, said it. He's like, I appreciate what Riley did, but, he's got to try to win the race himself. Riley did.
But here's the thing, Matt.
Yeah.
Real quick. There was no, and I get it. You're racing for the Daytona 500. He, at no point coming down the straightaway, was going to pass Chase Elliott. Why did you try to come down? Because you clipped him. I mean, that's why I blame him, and I get it. It's the big one, which really wasn't the big one. The big one was earlier in the race. But still, I don't think he had any business coming down. Like, that was a lock. Like, yeah, did Reddick come down and get a freaking line and just go 100%? I think Reddick wins if there's a wreck or not. But why did you? I just don't think he needed to come down. I just don't. Like, you weren't getting anywhere. You're not going to get around the 9. So it's like,
No.
just stay where you're at. It's the same thing we'll talk about later. It's the whole Denny Hamlin Allgaier that caused the big one. Denny Hamlin goes, I 100% blame Allgaier, but I 20% blame me. And what does that tell you? It's the Daytona 500. We were all fighting for track position. So I don't want to knock Riley Herbst for it, but I do want to say that wreck was caused by him. And I'm going to say to that.
Yeah. The other driver that a lot of Chase fans are blaming is Zane Smith, right? And granted, Zane was on the back of him, going down the backstretch, going into turns 3 and 4, right? His spotter saw the line that the 23XI guys had. Basically, and you can hear it in the in-car camera. He basically backed off to try to pick up that momentum from the 23XI guys. Unfortunately, you got to know Zane, and his spotter has to know you're coming out 3 and 4. You're going into the tri-oval. They have momentum going. Like, they're not going to pick you up. They need to get around you, and that's exactly what Reddick did. He just basically, watching Reddick pass Zane Smith was incredible. It just felt like Zane was in a different, it felt like he was driving 150 miles an hour, and Reddick just went right by him.
Yep.
Like I said, I mean, do I blame Zane Smith, though? No, I don't. Because, again, you're a Ford. The driver you're pushing is a Chevrolet. So, by manufacturer rules, you don't want the other manufacturer to win. You got to do whatever it takes to win that race.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And, unfortunately, it cost Zane an opportunity to go win the Daytona 500 completely. But at the same time, he's not going to push a Chevrolet across victory lane.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, it sucks. I mean, and for me, like I said, I continuously watched it over and over to see if there was anything that Chase Elliott could have done. And
there was nothing.
There was nothing. He was just a sitting duck. He was just a sitting duck waiting for them to pass. And unfortunately, he was 100 yards away from winning his first ever 500. Actually, his first ever crown jewel, by the way. But I want to talk about the driver of the 45, though, right? And this is why when we go to super speedways, we never talk about average finishes. We don't talk about anything about, medium lap rank, all that type of stuff. We don't talk analytics in super speedways because it's a complete roulette table, right? How the field shuffled 60 times on Sunday,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, if it's shuffled 60 times, and Reddick, who legitimately had no speed in practice, literally was not fast in qualifying, and did not do anything at the duels, ended up winning this race. Kept his car clean all day. And when the opportunity came, the 45 was able to come up. And this is where I want to give Tyler Reddick his roses, right? Tyler Reddick had probably one of the worst 2025s I think a driver could probably ever go through, right?
Oh yeah.
Went in that part of his career, right? He was 29 last year. He's 30 now. He's one of the best drivers in the sport. Guy goes winless in 2025. Is employed by an organization that's in a complete lawsuit. Had a contract. In his contract, it legitimately said if the team is not chartered, he could walk in free agency. Did he ever want to leave 23XI? I don't think he ever did.
Mm-mm.
But at the same time, if you're not a chartered team, you're not going to get his services. And then at the end of last year, what happened? Well, his newborn son, he had a lot of issues and all that type of stuff. Watching him win that race, like, yeah, as a Chase fan, my heart was completely heartbroken. But at the same time, there couldn't have been a better driver, in my opinion, to win that race. And that was Tyler Reddick. And you could tell the relief that he had in victory lane, in my opinion, when he won the Daytona 500. Again, going back to in the earlier conversations of the show, we talked about Tyler Reddick and, it's like, oh my gosh, I just won the Daytona 500. Like, I felt like drivers in years past in the playoff system had that feeling, but they were like, oh, okay, cool. We won the Daytona 500. Okay, cool. We're locked into the playoffs. That's not a thought anymore. It's, I won the Daytona 500. And for him to go in the victory lane with Michael Jordan and just 23XI in general as an organization was absolutely something special, especially with the offseason they just completely had. And especially with Hamlin too, as part owner. Not just was he in a lawsuit, lost his father. Michael Jordan, the running joke. I've ruined everything I've touched as an owner. Well, guess what he didn't do? He has a car that is a Daytona 500 champion. He can always hold his hat on that.
Yep.
It was it's a very good feel-good story for the sport. Now, granted, like I said, as a Chase fan, it sucks because my driver didn't win. But at the same time, when I look at Tyler Reddick and the 23XI landscape, this is an organization that was kind of down last year. I know Bubba won at Indy. But I'm interested to see where the organization goes from here now. Because it's more of the bullshit's behind us. We're here to race. We have the legit cars. We have caliber drivers to take us in the victory lane. And clearly that was on display on Sunday. And the other thing too, I know it's super speedway, but two of your teammates ended up drafting each other to a victory with Reddick winning. Riley Herbst ended up wrecking. But the other thing too, Corey Heim.
Yeah.
Corey Heim was in a 23XI car. He was in the front of the pack a lot, and a lot of the veteran drivers trusted him to draft with him as well. That's got to be a huge momentum for 23XI for a team. Let's call it as is. 4 months ago, we didn't even know if they were going to exist in 2026.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, and I want to knock all of this debate right now because I've been seeing it all over Facebook, NASCAR groups, everything. This was staged for this to happen because of the lawsuit. I've seen it 100 fucking times. I'm tired of seeing it. If you don't know the Daytona 500 and you're going to post it like that, obviously NASCAR is not your thing. You don't understand it. I could be racing a car at Daytona 500 in 38th place, and it could be the big one, and I can win. Yeah. Tyler Reddick deserved that win. You could see it on his face. You could see it in his reaction. That guy, like you just said, the worst 2025 season a guy could go through with his kid almost freaking dying, winless, and the guy comes in with it. All hats off to that team. Hats off to Michael Jordan and Tyler Reddick, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like I said, the organization, that is a big building block for a strong 2026. Like I said, It finally felt like everything was complete. And especially when Jim France and Victor Lane was handshaking Michael Jordan, you could definitely tell, you know what? There's no hate trip. Congratulations. You won.
Yep. Yep.
So, one thing I will say though, we came to the white flag. Carson Hocevar was in the lead. Oh my gosh. I mean, there was some great drivers that like basically got knocked out between Eric Jones and Carson Hocevar. And I mean, Bubba Wallace was actually, and that's the other thing that's so interesting because that wreck ends up happening. William Byron ends up checking up, gets back into the field, but knocks basically Bubba Wallace's day. I mean, Bubba Wallace was done. I mean, he checks up basically, and then that's what ended up leading everybody else. But there was some good cars at the end. There really was, man. It was, like I said, I mean, this race I thought provided a little bit of everything for all the fans, right? We're finally racing for points again. Look, Austin Dillon, here's the other thing. New era in NASCAR. Austin Dillon was in that wreck in stage 2, ends up coming back on the track. The car looks like a modified car again. How about Austin Cindric? I mean, Cindric was driving. I mean, basically his steering was sideways. Like
the guy was
he's out on the
walking.
track. Bingo. Like it just felt back to being NASCAR again.
It's like, I wrecked, but I'm going out here and I'm going to freaking, because they wanted to get the points and the best finish. Larson did it.
Yep. Larson's like left side of the hood was completely gone, or right.
Dude, last year they're parking that car. Well, we'll get him next week.
Yep, exactly. Hey, we didn't have the day we wanted. Just park it, and then we're good to go from there. So
100% Austin Dillon's car ain't going back out there last year.
It was absolutely immaculate seeing that again. It was like, wow. Oh my, okay. So like the garages are not there for decoration anymore, folks. Like we're actually back to NASCAR.
Yeah.
We're back to stock car racing again.
You sit in that car seat, and when we're ready to roll this thing back out, you're going out there. I don't care if you're 100 laps down. Got to get the points, man.
Gotta get the points. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like we were back to. Jake, let's do another question giveaway.
All right. So here's one that might stump a lot of people, and it might only have people who have watched Matt before me and to now might know this answer. But this is a tricky one. This is the last tricky one. I said, who was the first ever special guest on the podcast? Hint. He has joined Matt now for 2 seasons on the podcast.
Again, you're winning koozie. First one to answer at the end of the show. We'll give you a number to text, and we'll get those mailed out to you. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
So, as the fans are listening and all that type of stuff, and getting everything ready to go, was one question I want to ask you: was there what driver disappointed you this weekend at Daytona?
Ryan Blaney.
Yeah,
Ryan Blaney. I think that's a lot of people's answers. Very weird to watch that 12 car ride around 20th position. I mean, he came up, I think once or twice he was up there. I mean, obviously he got stage points to one stage, but very disappointed in that because Logano was fast. Cindric was shown that he was fast, not during the race, but prior to the race and practice and stuff. I was literally looking at the side of the TV. I said to my wife at one point, where the fuck is Ryan Blaney? Does he know we're racing today? He was my biggest disappointment.
Yeah, Blaney ended up finishing this race 27th. He was involved in a wreck in the last one, obviously.
Yeah.
Finished stage 1 and 3 in third. He finished stage 2 in second. Now, where I agree with you, yes, Ryan Blaney, we're so accustomed to being in the front. Now, granted, like I said, the field shuffles left and right, like 60 lead changes, right? Like you're going to get shuffled.
Most ever.
The one thing that was interesting about Blaney, and it kind of goes back to our pit strategies in this race. The manufacturer pit stops that we're so accustomed to at super speedways, like the big packs, like the Fords, the Toyotas, the Chevrolets, they did not do that in this race. There was like groups of 3 There was groups
Yeah.
of 4. There was groups of 6. There were smaller groups. And kind of reverse in time a little bit in this race, right? Stage 1, we had that early caution. And the whole field ends up pitting, right? Ends up pitting for fuel. There was one driver that did not. That was your pole sitter, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch's crew basically told him, hey, we are not making it to the end of stage 1. We're going to need the pit. Ironically, Ty Dillon needed the pit too, quote unquote. But I feel like once Kyle Busch pitted, I feel like the rest of the field like completely froze. And they're like, oh my gosh, like we're not going to make it and all that type of stuff. And I don't know what, like, again, they have calculators and they have all the analytics and all that. But it was one driver that screwed up the whole pit strategy, I think, throughout the whole, not just stage 1, but the whole entire race. And the one thing that I look at, it's like, guys, you were multiple laps. You know, you pitted multiple laps before or after Kyle Busch last. I mean, you know, Kyle Busch didn't pit from like lap 1. I forget what lap it was. He eventually pitted, but they had the fuel distance. And then there was that pack of 10 cars that ended up finishing stage 1, you know, 1 through 10. Zane Smith won the first stage. Austin Cindric was second. Blaney was third. Hocevar was fourth. Suarez was fifth. Buescher was sixth. McDowell was seventh. Priest was eighth. Bowman was ninth. And Gregson was 10th. Those 10 cars stayed on the track the whole entire stage after that first pit stop.
Yep.
And you heard it in the booth. And I think I texted you during the race. I said, are those guys ever going to pit? And they had like 3 to 4 laps to the good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get you're trying to set yourselves up to win the race at the end. But at the same time, I just felt like the strategy was way off because of one guy, Kyle Busch.
Well, exactly.
And in all fairness to Kyle Busch, if that was the strategy to get him back into the race, that was a great strategy because you spooked the whole entire field. And even Boyer and Kevin Harvick talked about it in the booth. They're like, these guys have to pit, the ones that are running 1 through 10, and guess what? They didn't. Now, granted, they started all the way at the back at the end of the stage, or at the start of stage 2. But hey, stage points are stage points. It was a great job by that. But Blaney did pick up a lot of stage points.
He did.
But again, though, it comes back to the strategy. It was coming back off of pit strategy that ended up helping him. Again, really not a non-factor. Blaney led a total of 2 laps in this race.
Yeah.
Restrictor plate, you would think that there would be more laps led, but he led only 2.
Yeah. I want to touch on your the whole pit strategy, and there's been things all over about this whole fuel saving. Are they telling us the wrong numbers on the broadcast and shit like that? This is the first Daytona 500 I've watched in a long time with the fuel saving. Guys were fuel saving a lot, and it showed you. I think they were saying like the way they were saving. Dude, at one point they were saying that guys were going 50% throttle and they could make it 66 laps.
Well, look at McDowell.
Yeah,
Michael McDowell went 65 laps on a tank of fuel, and Todd Peterson literally told him over the radio. He said, "Hey, we have enough fuel for a green, white checkered here."
Yeah,
65. I mean, did he just really open up the playbook to super speedway racing?
And a lot of people were touching on it. Talladega will tell us. Let's see how it goes in Talladega. Is a bigger thing that you're going to sing. But back to what I'm about pitting. I'm going to tell you this right now. One of the worst pitting by quote unquote manufacturers I've ever seen. You're coming out of pit road with 4 cars, and you're all 7 car lengths away from each other.
Yep.
First guy's going into fucking turn 1. The last guy's just coming out of pit road. I don't know who came up with that strategy and was like, oh, yeah, we're going to pit with these guys. We just got to come out together. And every time they kept saying, why are these guys so spread apart? And then, boom, the field, right by them. Flushed them right to the back.
And we kind of saw that in the duels too, right?
Yes.
We saw that in the duels on Thursday night. And when I look back, like Zillage was in duel race number 2. And there's Zillage. He's coming down pit road. They left him out to dry. Like he was by himself.
They did.
Completely by himself. But like you said, this is what happened with like the manufacturer pit stops, like the team pit stops, and the all that we're so used to seeing that like super speedways. There was so many mixed bag manufacturers pitting together that they were not on the same page. And like you said, Jake, you have a group of 5 come down pit road. Like we'll just I don't know the sequence, but like you had Cole Custer with like Jimmy Johnson, Eric Jones, Sean Hunter Nemechek. Oh, but then there's Todd Gillen, right?
Yeah, it's
And then all of a sudden, it's like Custer gets out of pit road, and then the 3 legacy cars are right there with each other. And then you have Todd Gilliland that's just coming off pit road, and they're all disorganized. But it was weird, though, because it did not impact the field the way I thought it was going to.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. When they all got together and like eventually it all evened itself out because, again, it was the smaller groups that were pitting together that was all screwed up and wacky.
Yeah. Well, I was also mad, like, and only guy I really can remember off the top of my head was Logano, who came out. I literally sat there and was like, if they keep pitting like this, there's gonna be multiple of the big one.
Yeah.
Because these guys were coming out and Logano did it and he got lucky he didn't get wrecked. Yeah. And he came up to the top line and just sat there and everybody just backed off. I'm like, this dude's gonna take out 20 fucking cars right now.
They were doing
That's the one thing that I'm like, these pitch strategies were horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what everyone was thinking. I really don't. And again, we kind of got it. There was a kind of a preview of what we were going to see at the 500 during the duels.
Yeah,
because they were doing the same thing. They were doing the same thing. I mean, there should have been like 5 different wrecks in the duels because, again, you have manufacturers that aren't pitting together, and then all of a sudden you have cars going up to try to block the lines. And yeah, I mean, the pit strategy was really interesting and odd this whole entire 500. Yeah, but at the same time, in regards to going back to fuel saving, right? 50% throttle. Tons of fans are complaining. And of course, we're always going to have fans. They're always going to complain about something. It's NASCAR in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But guys, come on. Like, would you rather see 3-wide racing, or would you rather see what we saw for years with the single file line for 95 to 110 laps, run the wall, no momentum, no movement, no nothing?
Yeah,
I mean it's exciting. I mean, I get that your fuel miles saving and all, your fuel saving and all that, but this is the new NASCAR. Like, this is the new NASCAR. They don't want to be on pit road as much as they can. They're trying to avoid it as much as they can. Excuse me. Like,
yeah,
going down pit road. Yeah, going down pit road is going to cost you time. They don't want to be on pit road. They are like, screw it. We'd rather go 50% throttle and extend our fuel windows instead of coming down 5 times in the 500 to get fuel. Well, we cut that 5th pit strategy, and we're only coming down 3 to 4 times.
Correct. And it's like another thing I want to go back to, because you did say it. People were complaining about 3-wide racing saving fuel. So if you're a guy sitting in 14th, you're in the middle line, you're at 50% throttle. Well, the guy up front ain't going to make it to the end. No. So why aren't you going to be like, I can do 50% throttle, I'm going just as fast as he is.
Yeah.
So and it's like, you like 3-wide racing or follow the leader and one. I mean, you're going to get it this weekend. So if that's what you like, is what you're going to get. But if you watch 3-wide racing, dude, that shit is intense.
Yeah. I mean, it really is.
It takes, you see, like, these guys are going 190 miles an hour. And if there was mirrors on these cars, they're hitting each other. That blows my mind. Like, I'm glued. Like, it's the Daytona 500. When's the big one coming? Yeah. You know it's coming. And it's only going to happen 3-wide racing. You know what I mean? Not going to get that in the single line. Follow the leader for 200 fucking miles.
And listen, some fans love that. Some fans love that.
They do. Which you like what you like.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it creates an interesting strategy. And again, based off of our show being pro analytics, I want to see the fuel savings. I do. Hey, you can make the Daytona 500 in 3 pit stops, and I'm exaggerating. I think it was more 4. But if you can cut a pit strat, like, again, McDowell may have opened up the playbook, in my opinion, on super speedways moving forward.
Broke my heart that
60
he did not win that race, by the way.
I know. There's so many great drivers that were there at the end that I was like, damn. It's like, damn, man.
Yep.
Like,
Mhm.
Hocevar for me, right?
Yeah.
But let's go to the next question. How about we go to a question for the fans, Jake? We didn't get anybody for the last one. Let's get to the next question now.
All right, next question. We've been talking about it a lot past in the first 3 episodes this year. Me and Matt are very excited to be able to do this. What race this year is me and Matt doing a live podcast at?
Ooh. And again, what you're playing for tonight, Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast Koozie. Again, blunt end chat line with the answer. If you get it first at the end of the show, we'll grab your number or we'll tell you to text the number and we'll go from there.
Yep.
And we'll mail you out a koozie. Got a couple answers.
Oh, we already got an answer.
We got Lance. He says Pocono. That's actually and then Doug checked in. He said Richmond.
Doug knew that because I gave him a little hint. So I'll give him one for that one. We got one for him on that one because I gave him a little hint on that one. That's for a later episode, but he ain't that wrong. But
Pocono's the correct answer. Lance, Doug will hook you up with some koozies. One thing I do want to say though, going back to the Daytona 500, I will say this: Shane Van Gisbergen. I thought he had a very good speed week. Now, granted, ended up finishing this race in 30th. He was running that 3 laps, but had some quality time in the draft in the front of the field. And to be honest with you, I forgot he changed to the 90. Sounds bad. I forgot he changed to the 97 this year. So I was like, who's the 97? I was like, oh, it's SVG. But like I said, great speed weeks out of the 97.
Dude, shut my mouth up on Sunday. I'll tell you that. I have
agree.
shit on this dude that all he can do is win road courses. That dude, don't get me wrong, finished 30th, shut me up. Like, okay. I got to see it next week, though.
Yeah, well, we're at Atlanta and then we're at Coda,
Yeah.
so it should be in his wheelhouse. I mean,
Yeah.
One driver, Jake, I asked you who you were disappointed in. My driver I was disappointed in. I guess it's because of how much hype he got going into this race, right? And I did say he was probably going to be the most overrated driver going into 2026 just because he's a rookie. Pump the brakes, folks. Connor Zilisch.
Mhm.
And it's so funny, too. Like, Fox was talking so highly about this kid is such a prospect. Oh, best prospect since Jeff. And all of a sudden, what happens? Boop, there goes the big one. And guess who's right involved with it? Connor Zilisch. I will say this, and we had a fan of ours reach out to me during the race, and he brought up a good point. He goes, in regards to Zilisch, he goes, I feel like he got scared as a rookie being in the front and panicked and overcorrected his driving. I agree with that. I do feel bad for one driver because I feel like he's going to get a lot of hate because of the wreck, and that's Cody Ware, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot of shit talking on Cody Ware. I do. But at the same time, Cody Ware got a lot of heat. I saw a lot of fans on NASCAR pages and, Cody Ware calls the big one because he does not know how to drive in the front. No, that wasn't on him. To be honest with you, out of all the tracks he's actually decent at is actually super speedways. He was leading last year in August at Daytona. Cody Ware was. But in regards to Zilisch, like I said, it was he's a rookie. We got to pump the brakes a little bit on this because, again, there's a big learning curve, especially with a 19-year-old on the track. These veterans need to understand, A, what he wants to do as a driver.
Yeah.
And B, this is why I kept saying, guys, relax. He's a rookie. Do not mark him down for 6 wins, even though he might be the best prospect since Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too. And Jeff Gordon was on FS1, first name's first name. He's like, Connor Zilisch is a great prospect. It's like, great. Here we go. But Zilisch I was disappointed with just because I did think that he could be a lot better than what he was. And like I said, he finished this race, ended up finishing 33rd. And again, I think he had a very bad speed week. But it's a learning curve for him. Again, 19 years old. 19 years old.
I texted you about him because I was frustrated. Because for a while on that race, he was behind Larson. And he
Yep.
could not find his bumper.
Yeah.
And it was slowing that bottom line down a lot because he couldn't find his bumper.
And he's got to learn that really quickly because,
yes,
again,
this ain't in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, man. These guys are, don't get me wrong, it's not that big of a difference, but these guys are moving.
Well, Harvick even said it in the booth. He said, this is not the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. You can actually lock bumpers at that speed.
Yes.
And that's something that Connor Zilic was not aware of.
We'll see come Talladega.
Yeah. I mean, again, learning curve, 19-year-old rookie.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
Let's put this comment up here real quick.
Which one?
That one.
Lance checks in. He goes, Bubba's going to shut you up next week.
Well,
all right.
I'm going on driveraverages.com. The guy's a 19.5, so I ain't worried.
Again, talking about average finishes and all that. So going into the 2026 Daytona 500, John Hunter Nemechek had the highest average finish at Daytona, right? No more.
No more.
He ended up finishing this race in 26th. He was in an accident. But I will say this, and Tri-Oval, one of our fans of the show, he actually brought it up last week. He said, John Hunter Nemechek is probably going to win a race before Eric Jones. He's progressing while Jones is regressing. John Hunter Nemechek had a lot of speed this weekend. He was very quick in the duels. He was very good in the Daytona 500. He led. He ended up leading 19 laps in this race, by the way.
Yeah, no, he was fast.
He was fast
on Sunday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he got caught up in that stage 2 big one as well, which dampened his day. But a driver I was very disappointed with, not just Zilic, Ty Gibbs. Didn't hear his name at all. Started the race in 20th, finished 23rd, no laps led, just there.
Yeah.
And for my Ty Gibbs fans, if you're listening now, this is your time to defend him. Like, until I start seeing something from Ty Gibbs, I'm going to continue saying he'll be bumped down to the lower level series come next year. And I don't want to hear anyone go off about, oh, he's got the Monster sponsorship. That's a Monster. The Monster sponsorship is a good relationship with Joe Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a better driver in Toyota, like Corey Heim, just saying, Monster will go to him.
Yeah.
Monster will go to him. And they're like, oh, well, Joe Gibbs is his grandpa. Who cares?
Yeah.
The business is intact. He'll have the business. It doesn't matter. He's mom's
not like Richard.
Yeah,
he's like,
exactly.
Oh, gotta keep the silver spoon out there for you.
Yeah, Richard Childress is. Yeah, Richard Childress is like, it doesn't matter. He earned his right. Joe Gibbs has won Super Bowls and won championships.
Yeah.
If you think that man is not looking for his next driver already, knock it off.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah. And again, I don't want to hear about, he's got the Monster sponsorship in Saya. Well, guess what? Those are Joe Gibbs Racing sponsorships, not Ty Gibbs sponsorships.
Yep.
And the other thing, too, is if you actually, on the business side, we had someone call us out about the business side. We don't know the business side of NASCAR. If you look at Monster Energy's, basically like how they run their business, they're always looking for young, innovative athletes to help them grow their brand.
Why do you think they're huge in Supercross?
Bingo. They're there. They're looking for the next big thing. And if you think that if Ty Gibbs is not performing and a 23rd place finish in a Joe Gibbs racing car at Daytona when his teammate started second, and Bell and Hamlin, if they didn't get wrecked and had issues within the race within themselves, they probably would have been there at the end.
Yeah.
Come on. Ty Gibbs was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found.
Yep.
You think Monster doesn't like having the camera on their sponsorship? Again, their business model is we are always looking for athletes that are young, energetic, and can help the brand grow. Ty Gibbs isn't doing that. Yeah, he's young, but that's that. So
that's it.
All right, Jake, final thoughts. Let's do another question real quick.
Yeah, one last question.
Sure.
Who was the first driver me and Matt had on the podcast?
Let's go on. We had him on a couple weeks ago. If you listen to the show, we had him on a couple weeks ago. It was actually a great interview, by the way.
It was awesome.
Follow us. You can listen to us on Spot. You can listen to that interview on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So, All right, Jake, let's land the plane here for Daytona. Let's come to the white flag on this topic. Final thoughts from Daytona for you.
Like I started it, probably one of the best I've watched in 10 years. Was a really interesting race, was really fun. Was on the edge of my seat a lot. Very upset that Chase Elliott got screwed at the end. I got to be with you on that one, but congratulations, Tyler Reddick, 23XI, Michael Jordan, huge win, and can't wait for Atlanta this week. We're back.
Yeah, we're back. I opened the show up with a question to the audience. I said, best Daytona 500 since. And after talking about it over with you and with all of our fans today, I would say that was the best Daytona 500 since 2016. It felt like Daytona again.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember the 2016 race, that's when Hamlin won his first Daytona 500, beating out Truex at the line.
Yeah.
This race had everything. Everything every race fan is looking for, this race had.
Yeah.
We had a ton of lead changes. We had multiple big ones. We had a fantastic wild finish. And we had fuel saving.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I hope that opens up. I hope McDowell opened up the playbook for other teams to test it at Talladega and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, I think that this race had everything we were looking for as NASCAR fans. Plus, I think the broadcast was finally on point again.
Yep.
This was one of the best races I can remember in a very long time. Credit to everybody around it. Credit to NASCAR. Credit to Fox. And again, if you're listening to us live, if you have friends that don't watch NASCAR, this is now the time to get them involved.
Mm-hmm.
This is back to, I feel like we are back to old school NASCAR again. We are back to the chase. We're back to racing for points. We're back to racing for wins. It feels complete again.
Yep.
It feels complete. And if the broadcast just continues doing what they're doing, man, this season is going to be fantastic. So that's our final points from Daytona, Jake. So again, Blown Engine chat line wide open. If you want to talk while we do Atlanta picks, feel free to chime right on in. Again, we're still looking for an answer for who was the first driver that came on this podcast for an interview. Again, for a chance to win a koozie. So
and if you don't answer by the time we're done the podcast, we'll check comments after we post this and
reach out to you.
One.
Okay, Jake, we are heading to Georgia.
Yes, we are.
We still call it Atlanta, or do we still call it Echo, or do we call it Echo Park now?
Yeah, Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah. All right, we're at Atlanta. I don't care what the sign says outside. It's Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're at Atlanta, first time of the season. Race number 2 in the 2026 campaign. Last year, winners. We had Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell won the spring. Chase Elliott won the summer race. We moved. Oh man, that was the best weekend ever. Chase wins the race. End up moving that weekend. It was fantastic.
Oh, great mood.
Great mood. Could and then the 4th of July was the following week. Could not go wrong. Just couldn't go wrong at all. Picks. So on our preview show, if you listened to us last week, our picks from Atlanta, I chose Alex Bowman and Jake chose Chase Elliott. I'm going to start it off. Are you sticking with your pick?
Sticking with it. Sticking with it. Loved him this weekend. Yeah, I think he's hot. I'm going to stick with it.
He really did look like he looked like a totally different driver in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was talking to a fan of the show and I said, dude, Chase Elliott finally qualified. He raced well in speed weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The car, I don't know if they changed engineers. I got to look that up this weekend, but I know he struggled a lot in this next gen car. But at the same time, it's just because, and he's even openly admitted, he's like, it doesn't fit my driving style.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they changed engineers in the offseason, but this weekend at Daytona, I'm going to tell you right now, that looked like the Chase Elliott I remember back in 2021.
Yeah.
I chose Alex Bowman in the preview. God, if there was any driver, I know I was talking about Ty Gibbs basically being a nobody at Daytona. Alex Bowman, dude. If you look at a driver who looks like he's just racing himself out of that seat, it's Alex Bowman.
Oh yeah.
I'm not switching. No, I'm going to stick with Alex Bowman.
All right. All right.
I'm going to stick with Alex Bowman. According to driveraverages.com, he ranks right now 13th in full-time starters with a 16.8 average finish in 6 races since the start of 2023, with 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 2.9% of the laps led at Echo Park. He was in it at the end in that summer race. He helped Chase Elliott get to victory lane. Man, I really, if there's ever a race that's circled, this feels almost like Suarez 2024 in the spring. Of he just needs to find a way to put the car in victory lane.
Yeah.
Just find it, because what you did at Daytona, that's not going to cut it.
No, not at all.
Jake, 2 drivers. We're going to go with. We're going to do 2 more driver picks. The next driver, we have our actual picks that we like: Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. The next drivers are ones to watch. What is the driver for you to watch?
Bubba Wallace, actually. Because he impressed me. He impressed me. He impressed me this week. Bubba Wallace.
Maybe Lance is on to something here.
Yeah, maybe. He impressed me this week, and I can't knock the guy for it. He did race very well. So that's going to be the guy I'm going to be looking for up front this weekend.
I'm going with bad Brad Keselowski as one to watch. Average finish isn't there. 16.8. in 6 races, but he's got 2 top 5s, 2 and 3 top 10s in that stretch. 7.6% of the laps led, right? Could have won this race multiple times.
Yes.
The one race I think of is spring 2023. Logano ended up winning. Brad finished second. Brad had the lead going in the backstretch. And then I think about spring, or I think about the summer race last year. He was in it, contending with Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott. And then also I think of the summer race back in 2023 as well. Yeah. So Brad's had multiple shots to, win this race, contend for a lead. Very good restrictor plate racer. I know he hasn't won a restrictor plate track since 2021 when he was with Penske, but I feel like Brad's just continuously knocking at the door. And again, with the broken leg, he didn't look like he was slowed down at Daytona. And again, in his defense, in his interview, he literally said, I had the momentum at this high line. I wish I had a shot at the end. So I'm going to go Brad Keselowski as one to watch for me this week.
Okay.
Jake, and then you're going Bubba Wallace. So you got Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace. I got Alex Bowman and Brad Keselowski. And then your dark horse.
Dark horse. Give me Carson Hocevar.
Ooh, took that name right out of my mouth. Hocevar, according to driveraverages.com, right? 4 races he's raced at Atlanta, 11.8 average finish. I know it's not like a real dark horse because the average finish is there, but it's Spire Motorsports still. Yeah. We don't know what Spire really is. Mm-hmm. He's only led 0.1% of the races since 2023. Yeah. So, he doesn't really run in the front a lot, but if you give him an opportunity at the end, I do like Hocevar a lot as a dark horse. I am going to go as a dark horse Daniel Suarez.
Okay.
I'm sticking in the Spire camp. Daniel Suarez won this race in the spring of 2024. He's with Spire Motorsports. He had a good finish at the Daytona 500. 16.8 average finish. He has 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s. He's led 1.2% of the laps in 6 races since the start of 2023. So I like Daniel Suarez, my dark horse this week.
All right.
So we're sticking with the Spire camp for dark horses. So again, whatever we pick the complete opposite.
Yep.
So checking in on the Blood Engine chat line before we wrap up tonight. Lance checked in as driver that we interviewed, Tyler Summerfield. Nope, that is our reporter. That's a reporter from Full Throttle Media. Shout out to Full Throttle Media, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to Full Throttle Media. We appreciate you all the time, dog.
We'll check the comments though there after the podcast and get it out to the guy who got it.
Yeah, and then he checked in one last time after you said Bubba Wallace. He said
about that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So, hey, we're back in full swing, dude. Check the flag on tonight's episode. It was a fun one.
It was fun.
It was a fun
one. Do
it
again next week.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it. Again, if you love what you're hearing, appreciate everyone, all the new fans of ours. Appreciate you guys checking us out on Facebook at the Broken Wolverine Podcast. Again, check us out on our YouTube channel as well at the Broken Wolverine Podcast. And then if you miss our live stream every Wednesdays or Thursdays, whenever we record, we do post our episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. We post them up Friday mornings for your viewer, for your listen, all that type of stuff. If you missed us on our live stream, but live stream is obviously where we're at. We love doing the live stream with you. We love the banter with all the fans back and forth. And again, we have a couple winners so far with the koozies. We're going to be sending a couple out to Lance. We got Doug, and then we got Ronald, who checked in with us multiple times. Those were our 3 winners. And again, we'll check comments, make sure we didn't miss anybody. We'll be sending them out. We'll be reaching out to you guys in regards to mailing addresses and all that type of stuff. So Atlanta, Echo Park, race number 2. Again, get your friends that don't follow NASCAR watching NASCAR again. It is back. Again, the boat's at the dock.
Mm-hmm.
The boat is at the dock. Hop on board, because when this thing blows back up again, we don't want to hear that I started watching it again. No, hop in now, because we are back. We are back. Jake, absolute pleasure tonight. Yep. If you're going down to Atlanta, enjoy the race weekend at Echo Park. If not, enjoy the race wherever you're watching it. And with all that being said, we'll chat with you next week. Again, follow us at the Broken Wolverine Podcast, Facebook page, and YouTube page. With all that being said, have a wonderful night and stay blessed. Good night.
Good night.